Do you guys remember Slugterra? Slugterra was a show that premiered on Disney XD between 2012 and 2016, featuring 4 seasons. For those of you that weren't lucky enough to have been born in time for this golden era of television, let me give you a quick rundown of what it is. Slugterra is this sci-fi TV show based in a subterranean world called Slugterra.
I know, right? Crazy.
In this world live different sentient slugs that all have different abilities, and using these slugs, people partake in the sport called slug slinging, where they take a slug, shoot it through a gun, and then when the slug reaches 100 miles per hour, they transform, leading to some very cool and dramatic sequences.
Did you see that shot? Don't get cocky, kid.
That tunnel's getting closer fast!
Yeah, I think they just picked up speed.
I got 4 more guards and we still have to get the prisoners loose.
Here we go, kid. Sling it like you mean it.
Anyways, following the death of his father Will Shane, who died to the main antagonist in the series, Dr. Black. That's black with 2 Ks, by the way, for any of you woke people watching this. Not that kind of black.
That's gotta be racist. There's no way.
Now, his son Eli is forced to take up the mantle and go replace his father in Slugterra in order to keep the peace. A 15-year-old Eli Shane then ventures down to Slugterra with the help of his father's companion, Burpee, an Inferno slug, and his father's instructions. He then learns all there is to know about Slugterra, befriending a hench cave troll called Cord, a molonoid called Pronto, and another human called Trixie. Don't worry guys, it gets a lot weirder. This show was literally the greatest part of my childhood. I can still remember coming home after school and watching this show whilst eating dinner. Good times. It's hard to put my finger on what actually made this show so great. Maybe it was the classic good versus evil. Maybe it was the cute looking slugs. Or maybe it was those cool and dramatic sequences. Roll the clip, roll the clip. But the show just felt amazingly well put together. I get it. Maybe a 7-year-old me couldn't find any flaws in it. I mean, what's there to look for? We got good guys fighting bad guys. Speaking of the bad guys, why do they all have like the biggest upper body ever and the lower body of a Fortnite player? Like what's that about? My bad. I'll get back to talking about the actual show. Now that I've watched back the show, I can properly appreciate the moral values behind it. From just simply caring about the slugs to risking their lives for the sake of the greater good. And even back then, there was definitely the sense of a feel-good story, where good beats evil, you know what I mean? In comparison to lots of other TV shows that kids watch nowadays, like Bluey, there's Cocomelon.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And Peppa Pig, but we don't talk about that one. I feel like Slugterra actually had a real story, and it gave me something to look forward to, whilst shows these days are almost soulless, and they're just political tools rather than for the sake of entertaining children. And it's almost as if the producers of shows these days are trying to almost indoctrinate these social ideas into kids, and it's just making for a hard watch. Slugterra was just about people doing cool things whilst teaching the simple moral lesson that people should do good. But these days, everything is way too complex, especially for the kids. Like, why is there an allegorical Bluey episode? I had to look up what an allegory was to understand. What's a kid meant to know? You see what I mean? They're just doing too much. Honestly, I feel bad for kids these days, because they just never got to witness the golden era of television, where everything was unhinged and weird. Like, seriously, what even was this? There's also something to be said for the continuity of TV shows these days. How many TV shows have you seen where it actually has a decent storyline running through it? The kids' TV shows these days are nowhere near anything like Slugterra. When you're watching it, there's this sense of people getting together and saying, yeah, let's make something great. But with shows, now you just get the feeling they're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like, every episode is incredibly different, and it's just so lazy, but I guess that's just a standard of today. Now, I get how kids aren't exactly able to remember stuff or pay attention long enough to watch things like that, but I know when I was their age, I could easily keep track of what was happening in those epic TV shows like Max Steel or The Amazing World of Gumball and whatever. And I know I'm definitely not the only one. Maybe some of you watching can remember fondly watching shows just like that. In order to refresh my memory on this show, I watched a couple of episodes of Slugterra, and I'll be so real, I'm hooked again. I'm gonna watch every single episode because this stuff is so good. If you don't know what Slugterra is, you genuinely should watch it, because I think it's something very different to a lot of content that's on the internet nowadays. And it's just a breath of fresh air in a world where, especially nowadays, everything's fast paced and it's always moving. It kind of feels like someone's preserved a piece of perfection in time, in a time where creativity really shone and gave the show the ability to captivate an audience that transcended age barriers. And for me, that's what made the show so great. And it definitely gives me a reason to remember Slugterra. Hey guys, thanks for all the support on the recent videos. It really means a lot to us. And can you guys like, subscribe and comment? We're trying to reach 1K subscribers, and we noticed that a really small percentage of you guys are subscribed. So if you made it this far in the video, thanks a lot for your support, and comment balls.